Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about setting up the Mau-Har hot tent. We'll also show you how to link 2 hot tents together to sleep up to 4 people. When you get your order, you'll get 3 bags. The first bag will be a stuff sack with everything you need to set up the tent by itself. This is stakes, guy lines, floor, inner tent, outer tent, everything you need to set it up without the stove vestibule. You'll receive a second stuff sack with the stove vestibule and all the stakes and guy lines to set it up. And finally, you'll receive a small folding aluminum pole to set up the stove vestibule. This is not necessary. If you want to use a hiking pole, you can use that instead. Your first step is to lay out the footprint in the position you want to pitch the tent. If you're not using the footprint, just lay out the floor. Lay out your footprint with the glossy side up. Take your inner tent, lay it out where you want it. Using the footprint isn't mandatory. Some folks like to use a footprint, some people don't. If you want to save some weight, you can either leave it at home or use a sheet of polycro or Tyvek. There's 3 poles that come in the pole bag. One is the shorter pole that goes over the top of the tent. And then you have 2 equal length poles that go from corner to corner. Lay your poles out in an X shape and then insert the tip of the pole into the connectors at the corner of the footprint and inner tent. Repeat the process at the other end, and then start hooking the clips on the inner tent to the poles. Repeat the process at the other end, and then start hooking the clips on the inner tent to the poles. Take your shorter pole, lay it over the top between the 2 clips on the top, and then hook it into the connector at the side of the tent, and hook it in the connector on the other side. Now's a good time to stake out the inner tent. Just start at one corner. Make sure if you're using the footprint, make sure the footprint is hooked in place. Come to the other corner, pull it snug so you don't have many wrinkles in the body of the tent. And repeat on the other end. Fly setup is simple. Just drape it over the top of the tent. You'll notice one side of the fly has a large zipper. This is where you'll attach the stove vestibule. Again, it's symmetrical. It doesn't matter if you want the vestibule on this side or on that side. If you want the vestibule on that side, just flip the tent fly around so the zipper's on that side. Loosely attach the corner tie-outs to the bottom of the tent poles. unzip the door. At the top of the tent fly is another connector. Just hook that over the pole that goes over the top of the tent and repeat on the other side. As you set up the tent, there's a little Velcro tie at each corner to attach the tent fly to the tent poles. Now just go around the tent adjusting the tie outs till you have a nice, even, taut pitch on the tent. To stake out the vestibules, just pull the vestibule out and stake it by one of the loops at the bottom. And open the peak vents if desired. There's 6 other tie-out points on the tent. At the bottom of each side panel, there's an adjustable cord lock and another tie-out. This allows you to add a little tension, pull out the sidewall of the fly a little bit from the inner tent, and gives you more air circulation. You've also got corner tie-outs and guy lines included in the tent that allow you to get a little more stability on the tent in the case of high wind. So this is the basic pitch. You would use this for spring, summer, fall, anytime you're not taking the stove vestibule with you. You have complete vestibules on either side, vertical side walls of the inner tent. You can go out either door as you desire. Each door rolls up and attaches with a toggle. You can roll up both doors if you want, roll up one door or the other, doesn't really matter. I prefer to stake out the door that has the rain flap on it and then just use the other door to go in and out of the tent, but it's personal preference, you can do what you want. To attach the stove vestibule, go to the side with the large zipper on it, unzip the outer doors, roll them up and attach them with the toggles, get them out of the way. I'd go ahead and pull that stake and set that aside if you're not planning on, using the stove vestibule. As you face the tent, on the left side is where you'll attach the stove vestibule. Both the zipper sliders should already be down at that left side. If not, they're somewhere along the zipper. Just pull them back and put them in place. Start by attaching the stove vestibule. Make sure the end of the zipper goes through both sliders. And then take the top slider and just move it up about a foot. The next thing you'll want to do is on the underside, you'll see there's 2 little buckles. One on the tent fly, one on the stove vestibule. Just make sure those 2 are attached. Then go ahead and zip the vestibule to the tent fly. At the other end, there's also 2 buckles at the base of the stove vestibule and the tent fly that also need to be attached. To assemble the stove vestibule, take one of your guy lines, thread it through the cord lock at the very top end of the vestibule, adjust it so you've got a loop at the end that you can use to attach a stake. Take the folding vestibule pole. A good place to start is on the 3rd hole from the top. Put the tip of the vestibule pole up so it's against the adjuster at the top of the vestibule. The pole should be angled in just a little bit. and then adjust the guy line to give yourself some tension across the top. You should have a fairly taut ridge line. Then stake out each corner. There's a total of 3 stakeout points here. Start with the one in the middle. Then stake out the 2 points at the end of the vestibule. Adjust your snow skirts, check the tension on your guy out points, and your vestibule set up and ready to go. Moving around to the side of the vestibule with the stove jack on it, there's just a simple Velcro cover that covers the stove jack. You can also remove the stove jack altogether and Velcro the cover back on if you want. This is where your chimney pipe will come through the vestibule. You also have one more tie out on the tent. This is directly below the stove jack. Just feed a cord through your cord lock and just stake this out with just a little bit of tension to pull out on the back wall of the vestibule just ever so slightly. This will give you another 2 to 3 inches away from the chimney and provide a little stability in the wind. There are 2 more tie outs at the end of the vestibule. We suggest tying these out if you're expecting any wind at all. Guy lines and stakes come with the stove vestibule. To do this, you don't need to purchase any other stakes or any other cordage. There's 2 zippers on either side. The middle zipper is just simply to open the vestibule. And then this can be rolled up tightly and attached with toggles here at the top. If you notice, we've also got the pole at an angle that helps put a little more tension outwards on the ridge line, and depending on how level the ground is, you can position that in any way that will work for you. There's also a zipper that runs along under this rain flap here. Let's talk about how to attach 2 Mau-Har tents together with the stove vestibule to sleep up to 4 people. In this case, we're going to attach a 1-person to a 2-person tent. Everything you need to attach 2 of them together comes with 1 tent order. All you'll do is unzip the corner piece or the end piece of the stove vestibule, and then the second tent will just zip onto that the same way that the vestibule zips onto the tent. Normally you wouldn't set this up before attaching the 2. You just go ahead, unzip it, put the 2 tents together, zip it on the second tent. But since we already did a demo how to set up the tent, it's already set up like this. To attach the 2 tents together, you don't need a pole. Undo the buckles at the base. And unzip the end of the vestibule. The zipper sliders remain on the end of the vestibule. You'll use the zipper sliders on the second tent's fly to attach the 2. Set up your first tent like you would normally. Attach the vestibule. Stake the tent down at all 4 corners. Set up the second tent, but don't stake down the corners yet. You can pick up the second tent and move it close to the first tent. Remember, the vestibule attaches at the left-hand side of the fly. So just move the tent close enough to get the zipper to hook. And just like you did attaching the stove vestibule to the first tent fly, attach the buckles at the bottom of the vestibule. To make it easier, just go ahead and put the 2 tents close together. You'll pull them apart in a second to get the ridge line tight on the vestibule. Zip it all the way to the end and attach the buckles at the base. Now, take the second tent that's not staked down and pull it out. There you get a taut line across the center of the vestibule. At this point, what I like to do is go ahead and stake out this vestibule. Provide a little bit of tension. Then start staking out the 4 corners of the second tent. Being careful not to let the connector sag too much. And there you have it. A 1-person and a 2-person Mau-Har tent connected together to sleep 3 people. You can connect 2 1-person tents to sleep 2, a 1-person and a 2-person to sleep 3, or 2 2-person tents to sleep 4. The tent can go on either side. It doesn't matter. The 1 person can be on this side. It can be on that side. It doesn't matter. It's symmetrical either way. Center connector opens just like it did with the single tent. And you can roll it up and tie it out of the way just like you would if it was used in a single tent configuration. And there you have it. All you need to do is put your stove and firewood in the middle. Any wet gear, anything you want out of the weather can also go in the middle. You have access to both vestibules. You can go in and out on the ends without working around the stove. You can also come out the connector if you wish. Just as you would if the stove vestibule was attached to one tent, go ahead and attach your guy out line to the tie out below the stove jack, and then apply a little bit of outward pressure to the wall of the stove vestibule. You got 2 places you can adjust the guy line. You can adjust the guy line here or at the cord lock here. So if you're just getting into hot tenting, the Mau-Har setup is probably very familiar to you. Comes with a fully enclosed bug net, footprints, sets up like a normal backpacking tent. Shouldn't be much of a learning curve to get familiar with this tent. If you're looking for a tent you can use all year round, this might be the tent to consider. You can leave the stove vestibule at home during the winter months and use the remainder of the tent during the summer or warmer months of the year. If you're hot tenting with a buddy, with kids, and don't necessarily want to be as close to each other as you would be in a single tent, you can link two tents together and use one stove, and everybody has their own space and area to store gear without having to be on top of one another. In lousy winter conditions or just lousy weather, you have plenty of room to keep gear out of the weather between the vestibules on the tent, the stove vestibule, or the interconnector. There's plenty of room to even run the stove and store gear inside the vestibule. As always, if you have any questions, you can email us at help@threeridgesgear.com. Visit our website for online chat, or you can give us a call. Our phone number is on the website. Be happy to talk to you, answer any questions you might have. Thanks a lot.